Hi, and welcome to the session on what are the technology basics that are needed to become a CEO of a startup. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Sridhar Jamal Madka. I have done masters in IT from International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore, IIIT Bangalore. I am a software engineer based out of Bangalore, and I have expertise in web technologies such as JavaScript, Java, and cloud technologies. So the topic for today is going to be what are the technical aspects that you need to know when you're going to start on your own. So let me kind of brief you what I'm going to cover and what I'm not going to cover. So what I'm going to cover in this session is like the basics of the technologies, the basic technical stack or the technical terminology or technical acumen that you need to know as a CEO of a startup. And one more thing that I'm going to cover about is like what are the kind of first steps for building a startup, and how do you do the technology selection for your startup app or product, right? And I'm also going to talk briefly about architecture. How do you choose architecture, and how important is it to take architectural decisions as a CEO? And also I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about how do you take your startup from an idea to the next level. I'm going to talk about startup accelerator programs such as Google Startup Accelerator and Microsoft Accelerator Program, and etc. So, and what I'm not going to cover in this session is I'm not going to talk about the business aspects of a startup. What are the things that you need to do from a business perspective when you start up? Like, how do you fund yourself, for example? How do you pitch to a venture capitalist? How do you manage the business model? And how do you write the business plan? This is not what I'm going to cover in this session. So let's talk about the basic question here, like why startup? So the reason why we need to start up is like this is the best time right now to start your own company, and especially I'm talking about a technical startup. I'm assuming that you are probably coming from a non-technical background, or maybe you have a little bit of technical background, or maybe you are a student, or maybe you're an MBA graduate who wants to create this next big thing. And so yeah, it's a really a very good idea to start up. We have a very wonderful ecosystem out there in Bangalore, in India, and globally. It's a really good time to start up. So to share some success stories of a startup, like flipkart.com, that's like the #1 e-commerce website in India. So it's a competition to amazon.com. Flipkart was started by Sachin and Binny Bansal in a one-room apartment. So they took it from, they started selling books, and then they took it from that level to the kind of level where Flipkart is there right now. And talking about snapdeal.com, that's also another very popular e-commerce website in India, which was like started by Kunal Bal. Kunal Bal was actually an employee of Microsoft, and he was kind of he worked for Microsoft earlier, and then he was denied a US visa, and that's when he decided to start a company called Snapdeal, where the website, all it does was like it was showing deals and all. And then in 2012, looking at the success of Flipkart, he made it a purely kind of an e-commerce website, and we all know where Snapdeal is right now, right? And talking about Ola, the #1 taxi aggregator in India, which competes with Uber, it was started by Bhavesh Agarwal, you know, And the beginnings of Ola were also kind of very humble. And talking about the very popular app, Paytm, okay, it was started by Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who's actually from a small town near Delhi. So, yeah, it's very inspiring to hear these stories that, anybody can start up. It's not that, you need to be, you don't need to be a genius to start up. You may think that you need a degree from IIT or MIT to start up. No, that's not right. That's not true. That's not true. So anybody can start up. So what does it takes to start up? What are the qualities or what are the attributes that it takes to start up? It's like, these qualities, like, the passion to succeed. You should have the fire inside you to succeed and to take your startup to the next level. And of course, the enthusiasm. It should be enthusiastic. Of course, there'll be a time when you will burn out, and that's where your team will come into picture, and then you have to motivate each other and complement each other and stay enthusiastic right from beginning till the end. And you need to have a really, really strong willpower, and you need to believe in yourself and believe in your idea. And another important aspect of starting up is finding the right team. That's like the one of the very, very fundamental things. um, you need to have the perfect team with you, which works together very well in harmony, and you kind of complement each other and help each other, and then you adjust with each other, and then you create that next big thing, right? So the most important fundamental, again, like finding the right idea. Of course, you need to have the right idea, and of course you need to find the right market for your idea, and the idea has to sell, and you have to convert or implement that idea into a proper way, where it actually turns into a success. And also, of course, you need to be willing to take risks, because startup in itself is kind of very risky. Very few startups actually succeed over the long run, but you should not be disheartened by that statistic. You should definitely try to start on your own. So the next question is, okay, I'm a graduate, and I have decided to start up. I have this idea. I have the team. Okay, I don't know technical so much. Okay, but I have a technical guy with me, the CTO. One of my friend who is playing the role of a CTO. Why should I bother about technical, right? That's a question that I would like to address. Now, like, here is this guy who is a CEO, or who is a kind of the co-founder of this next big thing or next big startup, and he has also got a technical team. The question is, should he know a little bit of technical, or to what extent should he know technical knowledge? Okay, so okay, let's take an example. Let's take an example for a while. Let's say if I am a movie director, uh, do I need to know how to act? Well, at least I need to know how to make the actors act, right? I need to know at least the technical detail. I don't need to know a technical detail at a very low level, but at least I should be able to talk to the technicians, the movie technicians, and get my movie done, right? For example, if Bahubali Part 2 is going to be released in a couple of days. If Rajamouli does not know any technical aspect, I don't think Bahubali would have been that good as it would have been right now, right? You obviously need to know, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that you have to completely get your hands dirty on technical, right? So yeah, let's take some more examples. Like, I'm a music director. Um, or let's say I'm a music director, or let's say I'm a music album producer. Do I need to know how to sing? Not necessarily. It doesn't mean that if you're a music director, you have to sing for your own album, right? You can get your singers to sing, but at least you should have the high level knowledge of getting things in place, understanding the taste of people, etc. And okay, let's say I'm a restaurant owner. I own a restaurant. Uh, I will I'll hire a chef. Do I need to cook, or do I need to learn to cook? No, but at least you should know what all recipes that you want to have, what are the kind of food taste that your audience will have, right? That's how you will design the menu, right? That's when you'll have very good control of your own company. So, or let's say like you're a real estate builder. I'm a real estate builder. Um, uh, do I need to know how to build a wall? Not necessary. You don't need to know how to build a single wall, but you should understand the high level technical requirements, like what is going to be the plan, technical plan that you have, right? And how are you going to sell your whatever thing that you want to sell. Like, you want to decide, like, let's say that you're a real estate builder, and then the first thing that you will do is you need a property, right? You need a property space, and then you're going to decide what are you going to build. Are you going to build an apartment? Are you going to build an independent flat there, or are you going to build a villa, or a gated community, or a skyscraper, right? Or a restaurant, or an office building? So that's the first thing that you think about. Okay, I'll come to this example later, but right now just understand that the analogy between building a house and building software. Okay. Yeah. So as a restaurant owner, sorry, as a real estate builder, you need to understand the basic architecture, and you should have the legal permissions, and you should have the ability to get the technicians work together to be able to sell your apartment or the property that you have built or the house that you have built, right? Yeah. So let's talk about something like, uh, is there any case where a non-technical guy completely, I mean, he or she has no technical knowledge, and has he or she been able to successfully build a technical kind of a tech startup? Did that ever happen in the past? Of course, yes. If you take the case of Pandora, it's an internet radio. It was built by Tim Westergreen, who is a kind of a non-technical person. And there is this app called Get Around, which is built by Hesika Scorpio, who is like a BA in political science, right? And of course, this America Online, AOL, was built by Steve Case, who is a history major, right? You getting my point? One of the co-founders of Slack and PayPal are philosophy majors, right? So the point I'm trying to drive here is you don't need to know technical. You should, I mean, it is not necessary that you need to know technical. It doesn't mean that you have to be a completely technical guy, but at the same time, you need to have the high level knowledge that is necessary to build a startup. And the aim of this session is to explain what kind of knowledge it takes. In brief, maybe you can research further on the terminologies that I'm going to explain, and continue learning and continue building your knowledge on these topics. So okay, let's talk in brief for some time. Okay, I don't have too much time. Okay, let's say somebody says, one of the audience says, I don't have too much time. Just tell me like what are the things that I need to know. Basic areas, yeah. Yeah, one of the basic areas that you need to know right now is cloud. Big data, data analytics, of course, mobile, right? So why do I need to know cloud? What is cloud? Cloud, right? Cloud is nothing but pay as you go kind of a subscription model. Or simply put, it's like it's not running on your computer, it's running on someone else's computer. For example, if you take Microsoft Word, it is running on your own computer. But if you take Google Docs, okay, you have your documents, your files, but which are being stored in someone else's computer. What is the advantage? Cloud gives you a kind of an elasticity. Elasticity means, let's say that today your app has 100 users, tomorrow it has 1,000 users, and day after it has 10,000 users. How are you going to match the scale, right? The way you're going to match the scale is by adding more computing power, like what in simply put, buying more CPUs, right? So there's going to be a limitation for that. And then for all the CPUs that you're going to build, buy, and have them in your data center, you have to manage them. You need an IT guy for managing them. And once you buy, let's say, I mean, you estimate that the number of users are going to be 1 lakh, and then buy things, and then you realize that only 200 people are using, let's say. So all your infrastructure is going to go waste. So that's where startups need to go the cloud way. That's the ideal way that usually clouds go, because they don't buy any computers, right? They have very little funding and little resources, and cloud is one of the best thing that has happened to startups. So let's take the case of Instagram. Instagram was, when it was first launched in 2010 as an iOS app, there were 25,000 people who were using it. Within 3 months, it scaled to 1 million users. And shortly after, it became 10 million users. 1.5 years from there, 30 million users started using Instagram, right? So by 2012, when Instagram, it was having 100 million users. And we know that Facebook has bought Instagram for some billions of dollars. So this is the idea. I mean, just imagine the scale. It's not possible to scale from 25,000 to 100 million users. I mean, maybe I can support 25,000 users with a server box, but imagine how much data center upgradations should happen in such a short time to scale up to 100 million users. That's where the cloud platform, like Amazon Web Services or Google, what else? Azure, Microsoft Azure come into picture. In cloud, we have various things like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, right? And database as a service, software as a service, etc. I'm not going to dwell into depth of all this, but to tell you in a very, very basic idea about infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service is almost like I have a completely plain computer which is running in a data center on Amazon AWS servers, and I can connect to it remotely, and all I have is the plain operating system. I start installing my stuff, and I start installing my programs. I start installing my software and all, and use it exactly like how my computer is there right here. So there's nothing out of the box. It's just an operating system. It's just a computer. That's infrastructure as a service. One of the pros of infrastructure as a service is that it's the recommended kind of cloud model that you need to take if you want to really scale your app into very, very, very massively in future. So there's one more thing called as a platform as a service. Platform as a service is where you have this. There's this platform called as a Java platform. It's like a programming platform where you write your Java programs and you run on it. So platform as a service gives you directly that platform where you can you write your source code and deploy it, and the website starts working. So it's slightly better than infrastructure as a service in the sense that you don't have to worry about installing a server on it, etc. The platform is ready for you, but it comes with the limitations that it is not as scalable as a platform as a service. Coming to software as a service, so the best example that I can think of for software as a service is like maybe Google Docs, right? So it's ready-made software that you are actually using. Google Calendar, you're using it day in and day out. It's actually a software, but it is provided as a service online. Or maybe Maps, Google Maps, right? Google Maps is a software as a service. We all know that Uber and Ola and all the taxi aggregators use Google Maps, right? So how do they integrate Google Maps? So Google Maps has got certain API, okay? API is like a simple endpoint, programming endpoints, to be able to access all the goodness of Google Maps. There's certain code that you need to write, and of course you have to pay them, and they're going to charge you based on how much you're going to use it. For example, if Uber uses Google Maps for, let's say, 1 million times a day, it's only going to charge for the 1 million times. If the next day, let's say Uber is on a leave, like maybe some like let's say that employees of Uber are on strike, nobody uses Uber app that day, so they won't be charged on that day. That's because the software cloud, the software as a service cloud model is like Google Maps is going to monitor how much software has been used by by Uber app and then charge accordingly. So that's about. Now talking about big data. So big data is actually important for us. Why big data is important for us is like, uh, just imagine, I mean, like we are building apps for the internet scale. What does internet scale mean? Internet scale means we are catering to millions of users. And then imagine that if all your data is on a data server and if that computer crashes, all the data will be gone. So there is no fault tolerance in such kind of an approach. Again, it's a big word. Maybe you can Google it up later. So the idea is big data, which was like which is based on the Hadoop file system, which actually comes from which is inspired from the file system which was invented at Google. Okay, so you just think of big data as a technology which helps you to scale your programs to a very massive kind of a scale, maybe like millions of users. That time you need to think of big data. You cannot go without big data for a very large scale of analysis and data processing. Okay, coming to mobile, it's obvious, like if you are going to create a mobile app for Android or iOS, you need to understand the basics of how at least Play Store works, what are their policies, and how Android works, the basics of it, and what are the kind of programming language that Android supports, and what are the related tools that come with Android. I mean, all this knowledge is necessary for you because only based on that you will be able to estimate how long your project or startup is going to. I mean, let's say that you decide to build a feature, how long is it going to take? Without the knowledge of this, you're completely blind. You need to know a little bit of mobile and how things work on the mobile, what is architecture and data analytics. Yeah, now coming to the data analytics. Okay, data analytics is I mean, the synonymous words for it is machine learning, artificial intelligence. Whenever you go to flipkart.com or amazon.in and you buy some stuff and then you see recommendations, right? And a lot of times those recommendations are actually meaningful, right? We wonder, how did this guy figure out that if I buy this product and this product, I am likely to like this product? That's awesome, right? So that's data analytics. That data analytics is kind of the text processing. There are various terminologies in that. You don't need to know everything about data analytics, but at least you should know the basics. There are a lot of MOOCs or open courses available on the internet where you can. One of the courses is like Data Analytics Edge. Okay, the Analytics Edge by MIT. You might want to take a look at that on edX, and then you will have a better idea of how to use analytics to your advantage in your app, right? Okay. So now let's talk about what are the first steps that you do in your startup. What are one of the first couple of steps that you need to do? Okay, so the first and fundamental thing is, what's the idea? Okay, right? And then what are you going to do? You're going to design the app, right? First you have to decide whether it's going to be an app, or is it going to be a website? Is it going to be an API? Or is it going to be a client software, something like Microsoft Word, or something where you have to install things, right? If it's a mobile app, again, is it going to be a completely online app, or is it going to be an offline app, right? What are the sensors that it requires? And is this app a kind of a service that you're providing? For example, Urban Ladder, which provides the services of finding teachers, Bracto, which helps you find doctors, Urban Pro, there are many apps, right? Or like Uber, which is a taxi aggregator, right? WhatsApp, which is a chat messenger, and Gmail, which is used for checking your email. Instagram is used for storing your pictures. So it's about, if it's an app, what kind of app is it? Is it a service? Is it government? Does it require internet to be working, or doesn't it require internet? Does it require supporting apps? For example, if you take Flipkart or Amazon, so the app that you use is the consumer app, right? There are going to be more apps or more software, supporting software, which are for the sellers. You are a buyer, so there are going to be sellers, right, and middlemen, right? For all those sellers and middlemen, they are going to have separate software. So all these things have to be considered at the time of building an app. So the analogy of house building where we have left is, we need a property and we have to decide what kind of property we want to build. Is it going to be a flat, or is it going to be a villa, or is it going to be a skyscraper, or whatever? Is it going to be an office building? And you have to think, what should be the plan? How should the exterior look like? How should the interior look like? And should it be like very costly look, or it should be very simple, or how should the design be? I mean, should I be able to extend my house to be able to build more floors on it? For example, there is a possibility that your architect has designed your house in such a way that you have to do a lot of restructuring and breaking of things if you have to build another floor. So have you thought about extension of your house, right? So this is one of the point that you need to think of. So taking this analogy in your app, so have you thought about your technical architecture well, and is it kind of extensible that later at later point of time, just like how Snapdeal was a deal kind of a website, and then it became an e-commerce website. So how many code changes must you do in your software to be able to get there, right? So you need to understand, like, who is going to be the end user of your house, or end user of your app, right? Okay, so these are like the first steps of a startup. What are the first steps? Finding the right idea, designing the application, and finding people. And I'm going to come to the next steps, what you need to do. One of the fundamental things about your role as a CEO, I'm assuming that you don't have too many people under you. So one of the fundamental roles is, for the project success, is project management. So here you have a project of building an app, okay, and a mobile and a website. Just like how we have Flipkart. Flipkart has an app, and it has also got a website. So they both work hand in hand, but the same code does not run from here to there. So it has to be, I mean, completely new effort has to be done to build Flipkart mobile app and the website. So talking about the project management, how are you going to manage people? So how are you going to motivate your people to work? How are you going to plan? Okay, how are you going to plan your project? So how much time do you have to go to market, right? One of the primary things of startups is the time to market. At what time are you kind of actually entering into the market? That's like the golden kind of catch. If you're late to the market, what happens is, if somebody has the same idea, they are going to they're going to implement the app and enter the market faster than you, and then they will find a widespread adoption, and they will have the advantage of being the first leader. So you will be the second guy who is kind of coming in the race, so you will have a disadvantage. So these are the kind of things which are very important, that you need to be the first. You need to get into the market first, just like how Flipkart did before Amazon. I mean, Amazon.in, right? Or Ola did before Uber in India, right? So one of the important things is, you need to plan your people and their time effectively. You cannot take things for granted, that Okay, is just an open source. We are using Java. It's open source, and write the code for me. And okay, build the app tomorrow morning. It's not going to work that way, right? So it's almost like building a house. You can't build a house in a day, right? There are a lot of considerations that you need to do, and you have to go step by step. You can't skip steps, and it will actually cause a lot of problems, which I'm going to explain. So, as a CEO or as a project manager of your project, you have to be reasonable and you have to understand technology to be able to manage things better. So, technology selection. Let me talk about technology selection. Why is technology selection important? I mean, um, I decide to build a website and I Google how to build a website. Then I get multiple things on Google. You can build a website using PHP, you can build a website using pure JavaScript, you can build a website using Java and Spring, and you can build a website using Python. Uh, Come on, now you have to decide which technology should I choose. So there is no single answer for it. Like, you cannot say you cannot use the same hammer for every nail. Okay, so it's almost like, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? You cannot have a sledgehammer. I mean, you cannot have one size fits all. Okay, nobody can say, okay, Java is the best for every app. No, that's not possible. So every app has a certain technical design, technical requirements, and based on that, you are going to decide what tools you are going to use. What software? I mean, what is the best suited software? For example, WhatsApp uses Erlang. It has been a very wonderful decision for them, and it actually worked out. What if WhatsApp did not choose Erlang and chose something else? For example, LinkedIn used Java. I mean, pure Java framework earlier, and now with the scale, it's not able to catch up, and it has actually recently moved to a microservices architecture, and it has got a kind of a completely JavaScript kind of a front end. Um, so it's going to waste a lot of your time if you are going to choose the technologies wrongly. Just plant this into your mind. So spend a lot of time in selecting your technologies so that you don't waste time later again rebuilding everything, right? Okay. And talking about architecture, just like how it's very important for, or it's extremely important for you to find a good architecture or a good design for building a house. Similarly, it's extremely important for you to get the right architecture for your app. So you have to think futuristic way. So in that, there are various considerations. One of the first considerations that comes is scalability. Like, how much your app is expected to scale. Is it like Instagram example, which scaled from 25,000 people to 100 million users? Is it something like that, or it's not at that scale that you're not expecting so many people to come and you're ready to kind of negotiate and kind of decide that your scale is not that big? Then your architecture is going to be slightly different. So security. Okay, that what security? Why do I need security? You really need security because there are a lot of apps, for example, Flipkart, Amazon, which use credit card, net banking, etc. What if these apps were not secure? What if one of the customer loses lakhs of rupees? What if the app will get very bad or negative reviews in the Play Store and people will stop using it? Correct. So the idea is security is very important, and security in itself is a very deep topic. There are various ways in which hackers can hack your website or your app. And if you are building with novice developers, you can be assured that you already have a lot of loopholes in your kind of the app, right? So security is an important consideration, especially when you're dealing with money, right? And availability. I mean, this is again related. somehow a little bit related with the scalability. Let's say you choose a web hosting provider, and then if their system goes down, what happens? Recently, there was an outage in AWS, and all the websites that were using AWS came down, right? This is availability. Availability is how available your service or app is. And coming to data design. So data is such an important consideration today. Take the case of Dropbox. Dropbox is all about storing your files on the cloud. So everybody has got certain amount of GB, maybe 10 GB or 20 GB for free, the free users, right? So Dropbox has to store all your data in a secure manner. Nobody should be able to access each other's data without proper permission, and then they should be able to access it when they want. It should not happen that I store all my childhood pictures on Dropbox, and one day Dropbox sends me an email telling all your pictures are gone. This is a serious concern, right? So data design is also kind of an important considerations when you are especially storing the data of the user, that which is like important data. Okay, so it's called data design. And flexibility and extensibility. One of this thing that happens with startups is you start with an idea, and it doesn't mean that you will stick with that idea till the end. uh, you decide the features, and then you suddenly decide, or your funding venture capitalist guy says, no, I don't think we need to have this feature, we need to have this feature, I don't think this is right, I think we should rebuild this. So it's almost like the example of a house which is not extensible. You cannot build another floor because of a poor design. Similarly, your software should have been well thought out in such a way that, can I just plug out a module and plug in another module and make my code work? So it should be like, it should be designed in such a way that everything should be kind of loosely coupled. It should not be tightly coupled, and everything should not be glued together so strongly that we have to break the whole software and rebuild the complete thing, right? That's flexibility and extensibility. Okay, another important consideration is user experience. It's very obvious that the apps that we use on a daily basis, right? WhatsApp, Flipkart, or Instagram, or you name it, whatever app that you use, we are used to a very, very simple and smooth user experience. We see a lot of grandfathers and grandmothers boasting that their grandchildren are able to use the mobile better than them. That's not the greatness of the kids, but it is the speciality of the user experience design. It's called as a UX design. So the UX, or the user experience, has been designed in such a way that even a child can use it without any problem. So it should be very smooth. The flow from one transaction to another transaction in your app should be smooth. And let me tell you something. People who are going to install your app are not going to show mercy on you that, oh, okay, these guys are just freshly out of college, so that's why the user experience of app is not as good, so it's okay, I will be considerate and I'll still use the app. No, it's not going to work that way. One simple example is, let's say that on a street, okay, you start a hotel, okay, some South Indian Udupi hotel, and you have a chef who is not so professional, who has just learned how to put a dosa, and he puts broken dosas, and which are not so tasty. Do you think people will buy that? And if you tell them, sir, since we are not experienced, please be considerate and have our dosa, they're not going to buy, right? They are used to certain standards. Similarly, very, very high standards of user experience have been set by various apps. So you need to ensure that your user experience is nothing less than that of the apps like Facebook and Amazon, right? So you may have to hire professional designers for that, or you may have to yourself do a lot of research to get the user experience right, based on doing a lot of surveys and checking how people find the user experience, but it's extremely important for the user experience to be right. Imagine if Uber had a poor user experience. Uber actually has a very wonderful and a very smooth user experience that anybody, even elderly people or parents can install the app and try to book a cab. It's as easy as that. What if it was like our passport website, which is asking for 100 details which we don't have? I mean, give me your Aadhaar card, upload your passport, something crazy like that. Your user experience should not be so bad, right? So, okay, now coming to quality. Okay, quality, one of the essential aspects of quality is testing. So, as a non-technical guy, there is a temptation to think that, okay, we have built this app, every feature is working. I don't want to write the test cases. I don't want my developers to spend time testing. They better, they rather write new or build new features rather than testing what is already there. It's a very, very bad attitude, and it's going to come back very big on you if you ignore testing. So you need to ensure that whatever feature you build works perfectly. So how do you ensure, what is the confidence? How are you getting the confidence that certain feature is working? Number one. And every single day, developers are adding source code. So I should have talked about it. Source code is special lines of program, maybe like Java or C, which actually converts into executables, which actually translates into a working software. So every single day, lines of code are changing. So what was working yesterday may not work today if you do not have the right automated test cases in place. So you need to do manual testing. At the same time, you need to have regression test cases, automated regression test cases, which are written comprehensively, so that if some lines of code have been changed, you should be able to know what has been changed, right? I mean, like you should know that the new changes are not breaking the earlier functionality. So you need to have a mechanism to note the bugs and classify the bugs. Bugs are the software defects. Let's say that if I log into one of my app, let's say I open my app, Compass app, and instead of showing north, it is showing me south, opposite side, right? It is a defect, and it's a major defect. You have to classify the defects. If it's just the if it's a small minor kind of thing, like instead of a cursor being shown here, it is shown somewhere else, or something minor like that. So you basically classify these bugs, right? You should have a way for reporting bugs, and you should have a mechanism or a plan for how do you want to fix these bugs. And along with the user experience and quality comes the look and feel. The look and feel. How does your website look? The colors, the fonts, the professionalism, right? Whatever app you build should look very professional, and it should look really, really, really good. No less than any other best apps in the market, right? Now, next part is like some of the legal things related to technology. I'm not talking about something which is not completely legal or something. So it's like the legal part of technologies. So somebody could argue, okay, Java is free, it's an open source, I'll use it. Similarly, you can confuse free software for free license. So there's a possibility that the software that you are using or your developers are using for building the code have a clause in their license saying that this software can be used for non-commercial purposes and it should not be used for commercial purposes. So if you are going to use such kind of software which you think is okay to use, they will sue you later. So it's going to become a serious legal mess. So you should learn to read licensing of each and every software and each and every tool that you use, right? So of course, the legal compliance is In some, there are some legal compliances. For example, if you are building a healthcare app, there is a law called HIPAA, HIPAA in the US. You have to comply to that rules. So similarly, each industry has got certain standards, and you have to ensure that if your app is being used by some other country, you are actually following those laws, or else again you will find yourself in a big mess. Intellectual property, we all know the kind of intellectual property wars that happen between Samsung and Apple and Google and Oracle. Like, what is intellectual property? Intellectual property is, let's say that you have got a design, or you have got a patent. I mean, you write the software in a very novel way. Your developers have built a very novel approach which is not there in the market, right? So this novel approach let's say it's being patented in US or in India or wherever, and someone else uses that approach directly without taking the permission, then it's going to be a legal mess again. So you need to ensure that you are not infringing anybody's copyrights or patents in terms of technology. Yeah, and one of the last points of the legal terminology is privacy. Privacy has become a big thing. There's a lot of debate that's going on the internet about how much privacy do we have on Facebook, how much privacy do we have on Google. That means every app has access to certain data of the user. So is that data belonging to the user being used by the app in an unauthorized way? This is a privacy concern. Okay, so now let me talk about the technology management, and there are certain terminologies that you keep hearing: development environment, testing environment, production environment, front end, back end, middleware, etc., etc. And source code, code repository, code versioning system. Let me explain each of these in brief. So one of the first things that you need to have is an environment setup. What is an environment setup? Is it's like you have typically software will have three environments. One is development environment, one is testing environment, and one is production environment. So development environment it can be something like a laptop, or it can be an account, or it can be an instance on Amazon Web Services or Azure, meant for developers to test the to do the day-to-day development activities and test the software, right? That's development environment. Testing environment is where once this developers freeze a certain baseline and give it to the testers for testing, the testers are going to run this code software on an isolated environment, or on an isolated laptop, or an isolated instance, and they're going to test. That is testing environment. Production environment is where your actual users are going to access this software. This is the basic. So let me talk about what's front end, what's back end, and what's middleware. Front end is simple. Whatever you see in the browser or on the mobile, okay, that part of the software is called the front end. And whatever that goes inside the database, and database is a very simple software where you store data. Okay, so that's the backend. Where your data is being stored. So between this front end, the mobile screen, and your database where your actual data is stored, there's something called as the middleware server-side code. This middleware server-side code is actually going to access your data and display it on the front end. So as simple as that. That's front end, middleware, and back end. Now, coming to the last part of the presentation, how do you take your idea to the next level? Okay, let's say that you are a group of friends, and you've got a brilliant idea, and I'm sure you those who are watching this video have brilliant ideas, and one of you is an Elon Musk, and one of you is the next Mark Zuckerberg. So how, but the problem that you are facing, or the constraints that you have, is you don't know how to take your thing to the next level, right? So you need support, right? So there are many companies that are ready to give you support. One of the very good active programs is Google Startup Accelerator Program. Google Startup Accelerator Program, what it actually does is it will give you free credits to the cloud, okay, and it will also give you in-house expertise of Google, in the sense you can actually, let's say you're technically stuck at a point, and you actually have Google employees, you can contact them and find out how to resolve your problem, right? And there's a program where they will actually they'll sponsor you to go to the Silicon Valley Google office and work with them. So the policies might keep changing. Just take a look at the website. This is one of the wonderful accelerator programs. And one of the another accelerator programs, couple of accelerator programs that I know are like IIITB, my alma mater. That's the college where I have studied. That's the International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore, has got a startup accelerator program called IMAX. You can find it on the IIIT Bangalore website. If you have the idea, and if you can pitch your idea to them, they are going to evaluate you, and if they like it, they will give you office space, they will give you funding, they will give you resources, and actually access to the talent, like the students of IIIT Bangalore, etc. And another accelerator program that I know of is Oracle Startup Cloud Accelerator. Oracle is obviously, like, very, very, it's like one of the upcoming cloud leaders. So they've got this cloud accelerator program. If you have got a startup which is like the next big thing on the cloud, you can contact Oracle team. They're going to evaluate you, and if they like your idea, if they like your team, they will let you work in the Oracle office, and they'll give you all the necessary resources like Oracle Cloud, etc., etc., and technical expertise for you to be able to bring things. And they will also give you access to their customers, their partners, and they will also give access to investors, so that you get investment for your idea to be taken to the next level. Another program is like Microsoft Accelerator Program. And yeah, one of the important things that I would like to say in the end is like it is very important that your technical team participates in hackathons. All these multinational companies who are looking for innovative ideas sponsor hackathons. So they give a lot of goodies, like maybe mobile phones, they give cash prizes, etc., etc. The thing is, they want to encourage and muster the community, and at the same time, if they like the top ideas, they are going to implement it with the permission of the winning team. So this is the idea. So what typically happens is, a lot of talented people come and participate in these hackathons, come up with really, really innovative ideas and build things and demonstrate. So your technical team definitely needs to participate in such hackathons time and again. And also you should visit those hackathons at least on the last day, to gain like insight into what kind of ideas people are producing, and what kind of what are the different angles in which people have thought in the same context. And one of the observations is, a lot of students go to hackathon, maybe win a prize or not win a prize. They build something on an idea and they just throw it away. I think I would like to appeal to all the students who go to hackathons to keep the idea alive and try to take it to the next level using the accelerator programs and etc. So do comment on this video. How do you like it? Give me your feedback, and do share this video to all of your friends who are in the same kind of a startup ecosystem. And based on your inputs, I'll be very happy to take up more sessions in future. Thank you very much.